And I'm back. I am back. And again, everything came up on my computer fine. And now that I'm sitting here, everything's being goofy again. So it's like the struggle of my life today for some reason. It's still trying to load the previous live conversation. So I can't even seem to get out of it. You know what? I'm just going to really sadly, I'm just going to continue on. And my daughter called me and said, Mom, we can hear you. It's all good. So sadly, I'm not going to be able to answer your questions unless something comes up on here. And look, I'm getting all sweaty and hot because I'm frustrated now. Um, okay, so back to my problems I was having that I was discussing. The I'm going to be a little distracted. I'm sorry. And I hate it when I don't have any feedback from you guys, but hopefully we're going to get there. I'm going to click around a little bit and go home. Yeah, it's just being silly. I don't know what's going on here. So we were talking about reasons we abandon projects, and I've abandoned several. And then when I worked as a production weaver, I didn't have the luxury of abandoning projects because I had people. Like I said yesterday, I talked about how almost everything I wove was pre-sold before I wove it. So I had to get creative and figure things out. You won't believe the things I had to do. Oh my goodness. One time I would do stuff like, oh shoot, I forgot to leave, somebody wanted fringe at the front of their project, on either end, and I forgot to leave fringe. So, you know what I did? I was like, I have to find a solution. They paid for fringe. I've got to give them fringe. So I would just weave extra at the end, however long the fringe would normally be, and then leave a fringe at the other end. So then when I cut the piece off the loom, I would have to unpick all of, this much of the weft from the wrap, and then hem stitch off the loom, which I hate hem stitching off the loom, and then fringe twist after that. So like oh my goodness, I've had to do that several times. I've also had to do people want lace work. That's a hard one. If somebody wants lace work and I've forgotten it, I usually only forget it at the first end, at the beginning, and not at the, I sometimes while I'm weaving, I realize, oh no, I forgot to do the lace work. So I've had to do lace work off the loom. Again, not fun, but there's always a solution to the problem. The reason I'm talking about problems is because, as you know, I'm in love with my new blanket. I pulled it off, and the one I've got the front side and the back side both on the top. So my draft was wrong, and so I've been thinking, why is my draft wrong? I did a sample. I saw it was wrong. I fixed the draft. So it's been kind of irking me. So you also might know that I had committed to myself that I was going to weave 2 pounds of yarn a day and get the warp done in 14 days. That's my plan. So yesterday, I had a lot of excuses why I didn't do any weaving yesterday. I had, I had to tuck all the ends in. I had to trim it all. I wanted to discuss and think about what I was going to do for the hem. I lugged it around. I tried to cuddle it. I made peppermint patties. I had 1,000 things I could do yesterday to keep myself busy. And I had to get ready for my live, whatever. I found lots of excuses to keep busy and not have time to weave yesterday. So when I woke up this morning, I thought, I got to get to weaving. I have to get my 2 pounds done. And maybe I should do 3 pounds today and then 3 pounds tomorrow when I'm caught back up to schedule. And next thing I know, I'm frittering around and I think, oh, I haven't done any weaving. And I realized I'm avoiding going to my loom. I'm avoiding it. And I'm like excited about my project. It's funny because I've been thinking all day, like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so happy with these blankets. I'm loving them. I'm feeling in love and like it's a new romance, the whole weaving again. But for some reason, I'm not getting down to my loom. So I had a bit of a sober conversation with myself and I realized I'm not going down to my loom because there's a problem. And that problem is, I don't know what's going on with my draft. How is it wrong? How's it wrong? I already fixed it. How's it wrong? So then I realized, okay, that's what's slowing me down. Just go downstairs, go to the studio and figure out what the problem is. You know, when I went down there, it took me maybe 2 minutes to solve the problem. The problem was I had fixed the draft and I saved it, but I kept the old draft just in case. And the old draft was the one I chose to weave. Simple as that. I was weaving the old draft. So I decided on a solution and I planned forward. The draft I'm using is a 200 pick draft. And so I was on pick 121 today, where that's where I left off when I finished. And so I needed to start there because, oh, maybe I'm skipping ahead a little bit. I had woven a little bit of the next color so that when I cut off, I was already partway started into the next one. So I knew the next one is already started incorrectly. So I think I'm going to be okay. That one is really hard to see the pattern even on it. Regardless, I'm going to fix it. I'm moving forward correctly. I'm not going to continue to weave incorrectly. So I thought my new draft and my old draft, they're pick for pick the same. It's just I've changed the treadling a little bit on the picks that were wrong. So like 2 picks were wrong, 2 picks were right, 2 picks were wrong, 2 picks were right. So I just switched them. Or I didn't switch them, but I fixed the wrong ones. If they were toggled on, I toggled it off. So each one is, anyways, it's fixed. So I just thought I'll just go to pick 121 and I'll start at 121 on the new draft and I'll be in business. And actually, I was in business and things have gone really well. Oh, something is coming up here now on my computer. It's yesterday's live, which is really weird. And yesterday's live conversation, maybe I can trade tea towels? Or is that today? Are you guys chatting? Morning from Massachusetts? No, this is like not today's. No. Weird. Anyway, so I started weaving and I was weaving along, no problem, no problem, no problem. And then the power went out. And my loom is computer generated. Like I need I have an e-lift. I need electricity to run my loom. So the power went out. Well, my partner and I are both employed at home. We both work for ourselves. We work from home. So we decided that we would put in a generator. So when our hydro goes out, it's out for like 30, our power. I'm Canadian. We always say hydro, or at least in Ontario we do. Anyhow, we have a whole house generator. So my power goes out, it comes back on in about 30 seconds. Anyway, so it went out a couple times, which was a little annoying because my shafts would drop. I don't like that. It's like right in the middle of my weaving. Anyway, so that happened twice today. And I was back to weaving and I think what happened was, I think something messed up when that happened. Or I'm not sure, because then I did a bobbin change and I did it the wrong way. You know how you sometimes change your direction on a bobbin change? I changed directions by accident on a bobbin change. Next thing I'm weaving along and I notice I'm really careful. I keep checking constantly to make sure I still have 2 layers, especially at the selvage. So I had woven about this far and I noticed, oh, my selvage is not, and now I'm weaving, not double weave anymore. It's joined at the selvage. Oh, so I unwove it, which, unweaving is like a nightmare, especially when it's double weave. So I unwove and I started weaving again. I corrected the problem with the bobbin change and I wove a little bit more. Same problem again. Oh my goodness. So I unwove that again and I just decided I'm going to turn off my computer. I didn't save my program. I wrote down the pick I'm on and I walked away. And there it sits. It's going to be there till I get back to it tomorrow. Because I decided I'm going to take my advice and I'm going to sleep on it. And it's funny that the live that's playing on my computer is let's chat about double weave issues. The irony. It's like my computer knows what it's doing, but that is not a conversation. That's not the live I want to have playing. And for some reason, it's I'm going to try it again. It's being so strange. It looks like I might be able to log in and get back on it. Oh, there I am. Let's try this again. Oh, my goodness, I think it's going to come up and I'm going to get to see if anybody's actually stuck with me through this painful, painful period. It's coming up, I guess. So that is where I'm at. And I really did want to chat about being motivated and keeping, like I have to go tomorrow. I cannot allow myself to not weave, because if I let myself don't not weave tomorrow, I'm going to kind of spiral. I'm not going to want to go back to it, just because of little problems. Like little problems are like the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess. Or it's like an anthill. I can't seem to get over it for some reason. I know I'm not the only weaver that deals with these issues. I know I'm not. So I'm hoping that you guys can identify with this. And I do. So actually, now that we're talking about the blanket again, one of the someone in the comments today from the video yesterday said that I need a binding that's going to be really sturdy, that's going to last more than a lifetime. Of course it needs to last more than a lifetime. I want it to last several lifetimes. So she made the point that it needs to be something really sturdy, and that maybe I should weave a binding. And I think that's a fabulous idea. I think that's exactly what I should do, weave a nice binding. And then I was thinking, how I was saying yesterday, I need to weave something on my 36-inch loom for my How to Weave series that I want to get started or finished, or however you want to look at that. And I was thinking, maybe I should weave binding. So I need to figure out how wide I need to make it, because, it'll have to be folded and then folded, washed, it'll shrink, but probably not any bigger than this, I would imagine, what's that? 4 or 5 inches, something like that. So that would be a really perfect little project to do on my loom. So I'm thinking that may very well, because I was thinking it's going to have to be, I'm going to bind the whole thing, even where I did the double weave selvages and they're nice. I think it's probably wise to bind all 4 sides, no matter what. And because I was just going to do the 2 ends, but she has a point. I want it to be extra sturdy and last several lifetimes, because as she commented, nobody else is going to know how to fix that. And that's probably true. And in fact, in like 2 generations, are we still going to, there's going to be probably fewer weavers than there are right now. So I think that what I'll do is I'll weave it and I'll do all 4 sides. So I'm doing 2 in that blue color, the one that I finished already. I'm doing a second one of that color once I get my yarn. I should get my yarn probably on Tuesday. I'll have more yarn in. So, yeah, so I think I might need to order. What I'll do is I'll order if I don't have in stock. I have a lot of yarn in stock. I know I have a little bit of 2/8 cotton in the same color, but I don't know if I have enough to do a binding I'll have to see how much I have. I know I have like at least a half a cone, but I don't think that'll be enough. I'm not sure. I'm so used to doing big projects. I'm not sure how much I need for little projects. I'll look into it. Oh, great subject. Okay, look, I see comments. I can't see the video at all, but I can see the comments. Pat Lawson says, great subject. I put projects on timeout sometimes for years. That's it exactly, right? And almost every single loom I've ever bought has had an old project still on it. The person just abandoned it. I think it's completely normal. CC girl, hi from London. I'm at London, England, or London, Ontario. I'm wondering. I asked somebody, I was at a Complex Weavers gathering. I think I was in, oh my goodness, I think it was in Reno, Nevada. And someone said, oh, I'm from London. And I said, England? And she said, that's where they keep it. There's a London, Ontario not far from me. It's kind of a big city. So yeah, I think of London, Ontario. Anyways, evening, Bella, Pat, I have 2. Once I intended to crochet a blanket. didn't finish it until he was like 10. That's funny. Yeah, you finished. That is wonderful. You have an unfinished 10-year-old tapestry weaving. Oh my goodness. With only inches to go. Yeah, it's like it's always just that little bit of friction, right? Like there's this little friction and it makes me not want to get to it. It's like today, like I said, I had that little problem with the it's not a little problem. It was a big problem with the draft, but I had already fixed it. This is what so I was imagining it to be this big gigantic problem, maybe possibly. And when I looked, it literally I resolved it in under 2 minutes. Like I looked, I'm like, oh, I see what I did. I grabbed the wrong draft. Which is again a very me thing to do because I don't name my drafts the way I should. My partner, he's in IT and he's always on me about being careful, like deleting old files you don't need and making sure he talks. What does he say? It's like groom. Um, I don't know. There's a word for it, like just managing my files properly. And I'm artistic. I'm like, oh, I'll just give it a better name. This is how I name my files. I'll name it like double weave draft, then revised double weave draft, perfect double weave draft. This is every time I redo it, I give it a new name. Really perfect double weave draft every time. I just alter the name slightly. I don't delete the old one. I fix it, I rename it, I carry on. Oh my God, I have so many drafts that are like that. It's ridiculous. I need to go and delete the old ones, but I always think, what if I mess it up? What if I accidentally clicked something and it's going to be wrong and then I'm not going to figure it out? I'm going to want to be able to go back to that old draft. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can't believe. Ontario. Oh, good. See, London, Ontario. I'm so happy to hear you say that because she made me feel a little bit foolish when she said that's where they keep it. Like London, it's in England. Yeah. Oh, I know it's in England. Anyways, I feel vindicated that you're from London, Ontario. I expected you were because the time change is really a bad one. I think what England is like 5 hours ahead of us, right? So if it's 6 here, it's 11 p.m. there? I think so. I think that's what it is. I think it's 11 p.m. in London right now. I could be wrong. Okay, so I'm sorry. This is like the most messed up video I've done, I think. I think. Who knows? It's still I don't see myself on screen yet, but I do see your comments at least. So there's that. That's something and I really appreciate that. What else? I think that's all I had written down to discuss with you guys today. I thought that was a good one. I thought that we need to just face the issues that we're dealing with. Like if you're having a skip, there's a reason. You just have to, like I said, when I working as a production weaver, I didn't have the luxury of walking away and from a project. I had to find a solution. And I mean, there were many times I sat at my loom and cried. I mean, I'll be honest, there's lots I have cried at my loom more times than I can count because things aren't going my way, something's not working out. I can't, I've lost tension on the selvage or my selvage threads keep breaking or there's always some little issue and I did not have an option of quitting. I had to find a solution. I would, like I said, I'd go to bed, sleep overnight, go back to it in the morning. There was only once I think where it was a complete disaster. I had to pull off an entire warp and throw it out. Can you imagine? It was at least a 30-meter warp. I had to the yarn, it was a new yarn I had ordered in and it wasn't a new yarn. It was Tencel, but it was from a new supplier. I don't know what was wrong, but it was just shredding, just coming apart all over, not just on the selvage. It was definitely happening on the selvage, which is so frustrating, but it was also just happening in the middle. And like I would get 3 picks in and another one would have just come right apart. I'd do like a knot repair. I wove maybe this much on it. I just decided that's nuts. I cannot continue like that. I thought I'll never get through it. I'd rather just throw it out and start over again. So and it was dyed. Like I had taken the time, I'd measured it, dyed it, put it on the loom. I had to start completely over from scratch. So talk about frustrating. Actually, I said I threw it out. That's a lie. I didn't actually throw it out, but I should have probably. But I offered it to someone who used to work here, a weaver. She used to work in the studio with me, and she was here once, and I offered it to her. I told her what the problems were and that I had struggled, and she said she'd take it anyways. So she got a free warp. But I don't know if she could ever weave it. She probably didn't. It really was a nightmare. And it's funny that I can see myself on screen. It's frozen on my face, but at least it's there. Yeah, you are a big city. London, Ontario is a big city, right? Um, yeah, you're right. It's like, I don't know. I guess Canadian cities are not well known, right? I've been watching this guy on YouTube. He starts out every video with, "I'm just an average, ordinary American guy learning about Canada." And so he reacts to videos about Canada, and he's really open about, he says he knows like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. And he says he's like the average American, and that's about all they know about Canada, which I've traveled in the United States pretty extensively. I've been to almost every single state multiple times, and they don't know any Canadian. I One time my partner and I, we used to live in Ottawa. When we were traveling across the United States, we asked every single person we were had an opportunity to chat with, and they would always ask us, "Oh, where are you from?" We'd say, "Oh, we're from Canada. We're from the Canada's capital city. Do you know where that is?" I came across one person we were gone a month traveling. I came across one person that had the right answer, and that's because they did business in Ontario. I had people answering things like, Alberta? Alberta. Somebody said Alberta was Canada's capital. Oh, it's so funny. Anyways, yeah. So, like, definitely Americans don't know Canadian geography. Probably Europeans probably know Canadian geography or Canadian culture better than Americans do, which is sort of sad, but that's okay. That's okay. It's just how it is. And that's why we homeschool. I homeschool too. Did I tell you that? Have I mentioned this before? We unschool Brandon, which is a little different than homeschooling, but that's the way we roll. Yeah. And we travel a lot with Brandon so that he has an opportunity. We actually have not left North America with him. He has some life threatening food allergies, and he has a lot of anxiety about, he doesn't want to go anywhere that's not English speaking, and he wants to be near a hospital. He's, life threatening allergies. He has a lot of anxiety about that. So we respect that, and we just stay within his comfort zone. We try and push him out of it a little bit, but we have to be respectful of that. That's kind of part of unschooling, right? It's like you just respect each other. We don't treat him like a child. We treat him like another human that we live with, you know? We've had so much exposure to American culture. Yeah, exactly. That's it. I mean, I probably know I I probably know as much about American politics as I do Canadian politics, possibly more, which is kind of embarrassing because, of course, their politics are more entertaining than the Canadian politics. Our politics are a little bit on the boring side in a way. Americans probably wish their politics were more boring. I don't know, but regardless, I have a lot of really, really, really good American friends, so I have a lot of sympathy when like maternity leave, and which doesn't exist there. Like there's so many issues I have that I'm always saying I wish you could live here. I wish things were a little better there in certain aspects, right? Mm. Yeah, it's good to follow the heart. Yeah, I love unschooling. Like I think it's the best way possible. I just He gets to do what's comfortable. We support him. We support him in all of his endeavors that he decides he wants to do, and he's so brilliant. Your education began with Walt Disney. Walt Disney is so good. I was saying just within the last week, like Walt Disney is so top notch. Like they don't mess around. They do. There's, it's just magic. They understand kids so well. Anyways, yeah, I took my son. He's never been very good at sitting down, which has never ever been an issue, but he just doesn't. He likes to keep moving. He doesn't sit well. So we took him to a Disney show when he was 4, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know how this is gonna go. Like, we're gonna be in a theater and he's gonna have to sit down, and I'm not sure, but it's Disney, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that somehow they have this figured out. And did they ever have it figured out, right? Like, every few minutes they're like, hey everybody, let's get up and dance. And they just, like, it was never ever a problem. The whole show was amazing. He was engaged, he was involved the whole time. It was fabulous. And ever since then I've been like, Disney knows what they're doing. I mean, I think that's pretty well known anyways, but personal experience, they've just blown me away. It's a horrible, yeah, I know. June, you're in the state, in Massachusetts. Are you in Massachusetts? Is that right? That's, oh, it's so heartbreaking. I don't know. There's so many problems that I wish could be resolved, like healthcare. I know, people complain, Canadians love to complain about our healthcare amongst ourselves. Like, I don't personally, because I feel like we have amazing healthcare. I've just, but I hear Canadians complaining about it, like, oh, I had to wait to see my doctor or whatever. I've never had that problem. I guess when I didn't have a doctor for a little while, I would have to go to the hospital when I needed care, or a walk-in clinic. I think things are different since COVID. I am fortunate enough that I have a doctor right now, and if I need to see him, I get in the same day or the next day at the latest. It's really great. So that's that's my experience. I mean, I've seen my doctor not that long ago, and it wasn't a problem, like within the last couple of months, and they just got me right in. In fact, they'll say, oh, it's time to come in. Okay. Yeah, one town at a time. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Telecom regulators make it possible to cross border TV. But who learns that way anymore? Through radio? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, Pat. Telecom regulators make it impossible for cross border TV. You mean like the CRTC controls what we're watching? You know what? I don't watch TV. I don't know. I just have Netflix, but even that is kind of controlled. I guess Netflix has contracts. I, I'll be really honest. I don't remember the last time I watched even Netflix. I go through little spurts where if I decide I'm going to watch TV, I'll pick. Actually, I did watch something recently in the last month. I watched Working Moms. I think that show's hysterical. I'll pick like a show and I'll watch like the whole season in one sitting. Like, I'm really bad. That's why I tend to not watch TV, because I get addicted. Like, I just want to watch it until I want to watch an entire season at least when I sit down. It's crazy. Or I'll watch like 3 episodes a day until I get through a season. So I tend to just avoid it because who has time for that? Try to watch Canadian TV in the US. Oh. So that show I was just talking about, Working Moms, that's a Canadian show. It's filmed in Toronto. I love it. It's so funny. It's such a funny show. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, now I'm rambling along about. I gotta stop saying I'm rambling, but I'm not talking about weaving anymore. So I think we'll call it a day, and we'll come back tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6. It's Sunday. I thought about changing up the time, but you know what? I don't think I'm going to. I like the 6 o'clock time. So let's do tomorrow at 6. And um, I'm going to post the live when I think of a nice topic and I think of what we're going to discuss. And I'll pop it in the title and the description so that we know what we're getting into tomorrow. I found myself busy today because I was trying to resolve those problems and I was feeling frustrated with the hydro going out. Anyways, I will talk to you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry for all the troubles at the beginning, and still I can't see. I'm still frozen on the screen. I don't know what's going on here, but update: New York gets Toronto radio, but it fades fast. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, bye Jane. Bye Pat. Bye Cece. I don't know if Bella came back. I didn't see her. Okay. I guess I have to come to my phone to stop it. All right.